started because I want to introduce our next speaker. And the next speaker spoke at our 4-day virtual sales conference that we had, or small business conference that we had a few weeks ago. And she was so dynamic. And I'm really happy that she's going to be speaking again. Inez Frazee, where are you? Inez?
I am right here.
There you are.
Right here, Tony.
Good
yes,
morning or good afternoon. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon.
And so here's what I'm going to, excuse me, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mute myself, take myself off camera. You have a half an hour. Teach us what you know.
Thank you, Tony, and everyone who's here. I'm so delighted to be here today. Everyone that I've listened to had such great tips about writing a book or getting ready to write a book and all that. So what I'm going to talk about today is preparing yourself and giving yourself permission to really put your thoughts on paper. I would posit to you that probably everyone has a book in them, whether they know it or not. Because as we live our life, there's something that we say, oh, I should write that down. And the moment away and we don't get it written down. The next time we try to remember it, and it's all in the ethers now for sure. So as you are deciding, yes, I have something and I really want to share, and I can see the value in it for other people. Because as you have conversations with people, many times you will discover that you all have similar things going on. Many people want some solutions to those things that are happening in their lives. And you just might be that solution when you decide to write it down. So I suggest that you carry with you a pad all the time, just a little small, one of those little small pads. And when these thoughts come, write them in this pad. I know for me, it has helped me tremendously. I used to have all these thoughts and I had all these pieces of paper everywhere. Now that I put things in one place, when I go back and read it, I go, oh, this is the thing that I wanted to write an article about. During the year and a half that I traveled in Southeast Asia, South Pacific, and Australia, and New Zealand, it was amazing how helpful that pad was. It's also helpful when you put your thoughts down, because you can decide if this is one that you want to expand on or if this is one that you want to just get rid of. When you decide that it's okay for me to be an author, it elevates your way of thinking about yourself. So many times we have confidence in so many other areas of our life, but then the little voice comes, who do you think you are to be an author? Who do you think you are that somebody's going to read what you write? And it's so amazing because Daryl got into that quite a bit, Rhonda quite a bit. It's get into yourself. Get to the self-knowledge, the reflection, which is really going to be a big piece of it. It's going to help you get more centered. Now, writing for many of us was a chore in school. We had to write papers. We had to write all kinds of things. And some of us decided, when I get out of school, I am never going to write again. I'm just not going to do it. It is okay to give yourself permission to say, I'm going to change that thought. I'm not going to let what happened in 6th, 7th, 8th grade determine the rest of my life. And whenever you decide that it is okay to create a lifestyle that you desire right now, it's perfectly all right. As the Audacious Living Coach, I work with my clients on getting comfortable in their own skin, getting comfortable knowing that they matter, getting comfortable knowing their worth, and also knowing that they deserve whatever it is that they desire. Somebody is typing and I can hear it as it's coming through. Can you mute yourself, please? I don't know who that is. Thank you. So as you begin to give yourself permission to live at this age, not in junior high or high school, or even in college or at any other age, but embracing the age that you are now and say, wait a minute, it's okay. I'm all right. I can definitely have anything I desire. When I talk about writing, many people think of it as a laborious process. Really, it isn't. The one thing that you get to decide to do is to say yes to writing and sit down, create a routine. As you create your routine, then you say twice a week I'm going to write, 3 times a week I'm going to write, every day I'm going to write, whatever works for you. And as you make that decision, be committed to doing the writing no matter what. So if you decide every morning after I do my reflections, my meditations, drinking my water, taking my exercise, I'm going to sit down for 7 minutes. For me, I have found 7 minutes to be magical, because if you're looking at your screen for 7 minutes and it's like, oh my God, I have nothing to put on the screen today, just start typing, just start playing around with the keyboard. And after a while, something is going to come. Now, just because you're giving yourself 7 minutes doesn't mean you cannot continue to write when the flow starts. So keep the flow going. The next time you sit down, you do the same thing. It is amazing what comes out of us when we allow ourselves and give ourselves the freedom to listen to what's coming and to actually write it down. When I was writing my book, I had just started my business, and I had always been an employee. Getting into my own, I had businesses on the side, but always being an employee, I knew I could always take care of myself. But now that I am no longer an employee, everything comes from whatever I generate. And it was amazing how scary that process was. But one of the things I did early on was hire a coach. And in hiring a coach, she suggested, well, Inez, since you're going through all of this angst and not really knowing, why don't you write down the process that you're going through and see how it goes? And that's how my book actually came into being. It helped me to overcome the fear of getting out there and being okay with it. Also, since I was just writing down my process as in journaling, it wasn't about a book. It was about getting my thoughts out, getting down all those feelings that came up as I was stepping into being an entrepreneur, which was very, very frightening at first. Now I'm so happy that I did. And I tell you that because when you get started, it might be just a little bit frightening. So what if, instead of saying, I'm going to write a book, I like what Tony said about writing down your 30 tips. Just take those tips and start writing articles about them. Now these articles can easily become a book. You can extract from it. Do the little steps so that the big book doesn't frighten you to the point of being stuck and not getting ahead. As you start doing this, I'm going to give you a couple of statements or questions that you might ask. And one of those statements I have learned really does open up your mind, open up your energy, and gives you that opportunity to really get in a space of allowing, accepting, and receiving information from others, from the universe, and from yourself. And what this statement is, what else is possible? What else is possible in my life? What else would be possible if I decide to write these things down? What else is possible if I don't write them down? What am I not saying yes to? What am I always saying no to? Where's this fear coming from? As you sit in silence and being still and listening to your thoughts, you're going to discover that much of what you were fearing, just your mind playing tricks on you. And as your mind plays tricks on you, just say, nope, that's not for me today, and send those tricks back out into the universe. So what else is possible in your life? What else is possible? How do you see your life? What else is possible if you were to really sit down and think about it and plan out, what would it be for me if I were to write a book? If I were to start living my audacious life just like I desire? What would that mean? What would it look like? What would it feel like? How would I be? Who would I be? How would I be? Who would I be? Are very important, because I would say to you, whoever that being is, you get to be it now. Because as you are being it now, it actually becomes more, you're able to touch it, taste it, feel it more quickly than putting it out maybe next year or 10 years from now. Be it now. We get to take off the time limits on our being. And as we take off the time limits on our being, we can construct, create the life that we desire, that audacious life. The other question that you might ask yourself is, how does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? As you are creating your audacious life, writing your articles, writing your books, speaking because you said, oh, I could never speak. But people see you and they say, well, in you getting everything out there, you wrote this article that everybody's raving about. It could be in a small town. It could be global, because we do live in a global society. So now you get to say, all right, what if I start speaking? As you're speaking, you might want to hone your skills. One of the places that I have found that really is probably the best place is Toastmasters. And as you join Toastmasters, everybody there is to help you, support you in creating a speech, getting the confidence to stand in front of people, know what you're going to say what you're going to say, and be powerful with it. As you do that, your confidence in yourself is going to increase. As your confidence increases, you're going to find that, wow, I'm liking this a lot. And I thought I was afraid to speak. Now, I'm not going to say that the fear of speaking is going to always go away. Almost every time that I'm going before an audience, I have little butterflies in my stomach. But I know that they're going to line up and fly in formation, so I don't worry about them. And you get to be in that same space. And from your speaking, you're going to meet people that will support you when your book comes out. It is amazing how lining things up without even thinking about it sometimes, things come to you. And as they come, you know to say yes to it. As you are really, really getting into living your audacious life and saying yes to it, start writing, getting everything done. I have to laugh because I really get giddy sometimes when I think about it. My whole mantra is to get giddy with it. And as you get giddy, everything else starts to coming into play. As you start writing and you start feeling blissful, you start getting giddy, more and more will come, more and more will come. The more that comes to you, keep your pad and make the notes. I'm not saying that this is going to be the easiest thing you have ever done. I am saying that it can be done when you're ready. Now, when I wrote my book, I wrote about the many things, but one of the things I wanted to read to you today was about taking initiative. And my book is Rejuvenate Your Life, 21 Days to Feel Like a Woman Again. And when we talk about that, all I've been talking about so far is taking the initiative to sit down, get grounded, and get started. So as you take initiative on the 12th day in my book, we say, do you move into action or do you wait for others to move you into action? Do you design your life based on decisions others made for you? Do you live your life based on what you think others want from you? As I was speaking earlier, when I was saying give yourself permission to be that person you know yourself to be, give yourself permission to do the things that you desire to do, coming from you, not what everybody told you could do, be, and have, but coming from you. To get a book out, to get articles out, to do anything, it's going to take initiative. Yes, there will be some distractions. When the distractions come, acknowledge the distraction, and if it's something that you really need to handle, handle it. If it's not, then you let it go. The problem with distractions is when they come and we focus on the distraction, and that's when we get derailed from what we're doing. So acknowledge the distraction so that you know that it's there, because when you try to ignore it, it keeps trying to get in. So acknowledge it, put it on a side, and get back to where you were. Distractions can be really, really huge in keeping you off your path, keeping you from living that audacious life that you know you desire. So the book continues, imagine what would happen if you take the initiative in designing your best life. Designing your life relieves you of the stress of always having to be right, live up to others' expectations. And designing your life can be easier than you think with a little attention and initiative. So as you take the initiative to rejuvenate your life on purpose, you give yourself the opportunity to live your best life by giving you the freedom to discover who you are and the greater truth of why you're here. That's a part of this day 12. As you go through your day, spend some time thinking about, what am I going to do to really, really own myself, own up to being responsible for creating that audacious life that I desire? As you decide to do that, miracles and magic happen. As long as you're on the fence and not sure where you want to go, as long as you are remembering what somebody told you, who you could be, what you could do, what you could have, and allowing that to guide your decisions, you're going to find that you will never, ever sit down and start writing. So just dream with me for a moment. You've decided that, okay, everything that all those people said to me about who I could be, what I could do, I'm just going to let it go out into the universe. And now I'm going to create my own. So imagine you get up in the morning and you do all the things that you do first. You create your routine, your water and all of that. Imagine sitting in your favorite spot in your home, and you take out your pad and you start writing. Or you take your computer and you don't go online, because if you go online, you'll be surely distracted because you want to check Facebook, you want to check Instagram, you want to check your email account. So instead of doing that, don't even go online. Not going online, you sit and you think and you start typing or you start writing. Just imagine how good that's going to feel, because this is your decision based on your own being, based on who you be all the time. And as you are doing your own decision, it makes a huge difference in your life. You start to feel better, you start to move better, you start to really get giddy with it, because now you're living your life on your own terms. The more you do this, the better you're going to feel, and the easier it's going to be to just be excited about getting up every day. You can sit down and write. And as it gets easier and easier, flow and flow and flow. As it is flowing, remember to give thanks after every time, because as you are giving thanks, being grateful for everything that you've written, now you can relax into it. What's really great is because some of the stuff you write, you're not going to keep. I can tell you that right now. However, because you wrote it, it got you started going. As you review all the things that you've written, you decide what really resonates with you at the deepest level. And as it resonates with you at the deepest level, you then get to be in the space and in the energy of saying, yes, this is what I want to share. It is so amazing when we do that, because everything that we desire can be ours as long as we decide for ourselves without any attachment to anything that anybody ever told us we could be, do, or have. Writing a book and getting it out there would be kind of two different things, because we can write a book and we can sit at home and think somebody's going to knock on the door and ring the bell, and generally that doesn't happen. So as Rhonda was saying, as Daryl was saying, put things in place so that as you write your book, depending on how you want to be out there. Some people just want to write a book for the family history. the stuff that people don't talk about in families, and you want to put it down on paper. That's perfectly fine. Some want to write a book and be known in their small town. That's perfectly fine. And then there are others who see themselves writing bestsellers and going global and being an influencer in the world. Wherever you see yourself, you get to choose to be there. And in choosing to be there, it's amazing how things line up for you to make that happen. Now, my gift to you today is the email version of a coaching program that I have. You receive the book and a PDF of the book, and you receive a daily for 21 days, an email for some coaching throughout the book. And you can get that at Rejuvenate Your Life Now, 21 Days to Feel Like a Woman Again. The discounted price on it is $67. It usually goes for $97, but for today and for this broadcast, it is $67. So if you go to Rejuvenate Your Life Now, 21 Days to Feel Like a Woman Again, you will be able to scroll down and receive the coaching, the book, a PDF of the book, and an email every day for coaching to get yourself into the habit of living your audacious life now. I am ready to take questions.
And I'm unmuting myself. And if you have any questions, that was amazing as always. I've heard you speak a couple of times, and one of the things that I'm always amazed at, and maybe I shouldn't be, but it is what it is how incredibly powerful your talks are. They are subtle, but they are powerful. And I really appreciate every time I hear you speak. It's empowering, and it is useful, and I can't even tell you how much I get out of your talk. So I want to thank you for being on this call. So questions, comments?
Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Question, comments? Please unmute yourself. Yes, no, maybe? Okay, so Inez, here's what I'm going to ask you to do, because we're going to do a roundtable.
I'm going to put in the chat my link. Okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is to hang out a little bit, because I'm going to do a panel discussion with all the speakers, and I've got some questions, and hopefully you'll have some answers. And so if you can hang out a little bit, that would be terrific.
Okay, I will.
All right,
Thank
sounds
you.
good. Thank you, and I'm going to mute you, or if you would mute yourself. Annika, I'm unmuting you. I'm attempting to, and